For those of you who are like, now is the time, here's a little tutorial just to give you some confidence and maybe a few tips as well on how to do it and how to sort of make it feel neat and as you like it. This is my kit. I've got a pair of clippers and some guards, yay! So what I'm planning on doing is just doing a grade 3 on the top and a grade 1 on the sides and just blending them in. So it's not going to be like all the same length all over, although actually usually when you do it a tiny bit longer on the top and a tiny bit shorter on the back and sides, they tend to actually look more or less the same. Don't really know why, just happens. And so as you can see, I'm sporting my floofiest hair because the best preparation is to wash your hair beforehand and not sleep on it, because having it sticking out as much as possible will get the cleanest connection with the clippers. So that's my top tip in preparation. Obviously wear something that you don't mind getting hairy, and yeah, that's it, you're good to go. So I will talk you through what I'm doing a little bit as I go, but it's a simple thing. Shave your hair and have fun. Okay, and just shout out to Mabel, who did do an amazing job on my colour. Obviously it was a while ago and it's kind of faded out a bit, but now I'm looking forward to just kind of having a different style. And I'll be also interested to see how bold I actually am underneath all this hair, given that the time I've taken it to grow. I think I've lost a little bit at the front, so yeah, it'll be exciting for me too to see this film. Okay, so here we go. I'm just grabbing my clippers and I'm going to attach a grade 3. Notice that I don't even have a mirror to hand. I have got one behind me just to check, but I'm going to be doing it most things by feel. There is a tutorial that I've done before on how to do a fade on your hair, so some of this will be a bit repetitive around that one as well. I've got my grade 3. I'm just going to go straight in there and whiz off the top. Exciting! So I'm deliberately holding a section of it because it clips a bit more cleanly if I actually have some tension on the hair that I'm cutting. And I'm also trying to cut more or less against the direction in which it grows. I'm now going to go from a grade 3 down to a grade 2, and I'm going to do the technique that I've done before, where instead of moving my arm, I move my head from side to side. Using a grade 2, so I'm using the curve of my head to my advantage by just going up my hair and then just floating it out of my head. So I'm not following the curve of my head, I'm just following more like an imaginary line that is slightly curved but not as curved as the shape of my head, so I'm just like flowing out of my head, and that should hopefully blend everything in nicely. So I'm holding it almost like a pencil and I'm moving my head. Okay, so not much came off, but I wasn't expecting much to come off. Now I'm going down to a grade 1, and I'm going to be concentrating on the lower down parts of my head. And again, using the same technique, just sort of taking a line and then allowing that line to flow out of my head. So I'm not taking it too hard, too high, or not creating too much of a line. I can hear that it's cutting something, so that's good. I'm just bending my ear over to get an easier access. So I'm trying to now get to the middle So I'm holding the clippers still kind of like a pencil and shaving up, trying to kind of follow that, the sensation of where that line was. Now I'm turning the clippers upside down in order to make sure that they connect with the hair that grows on my hairline, which actually grows up or in slightly different directions than the hair from higher up, which tends to grow down. So in order to make sure I get a nice connection, turn the clippers upside down or side to side to make sure that it connects. Okay, I can make use of my lever now. So my lever is up at the moment, which means that the blades are kind of very close to each other. But if I push the lever down, it pulls the blades slightly further apart, creating a bit of a half grade. So it does mean that you can get a little bit more of a nuanced like blend from the one into the two, creating a little bit, an opportunity to nip off any of those edges that create a line. Do the same with the grade 2. So I'm going to turn my clippers upside down and just touch quite low down on the back of my neck where there isn't actually any hair, and try and get a sense of where my hairline is. Do the same on this side. I don't want to go too high because otherwise I'll end up cutting into the hairline. And then with using the sharp edge, I'm just going to try and get a nice neat shape here. Just pulling a bit of tension on my ear. And just curving around and switching over, curving back. I think that the demonstration on how to neaten up my edges would have been easier for you to see if I had another person showing the back of my head. So if you want a clearer picture of that, the other tutorial that I did, which was fading from a half to a 1.5 on an undercut, has probably a better picture of how that back bit was done. So maybe watch that one as well if you're not sure. Okay, well, thank you for witnessing my my head shave. It was fun to do and it feels nice and fresh, and if you need any help doing any haircuts, we want some advice, feel free to get in touch at openbarbers@gmail.com. and otherwise I hope that you're all keeping well and looking forward to seeing you again soon. Okay, bye.